Oh, these announcements just keep getting better and better. So Universal Studios Orlando has just announced the next house for 2019's lineup, and it is a Universal Classic Monsters house, and I couldn't be any more excited. Now, since starting going to Universal Studios back in 2012, that was when I first got introduced into the Classic Monsters universe, seeing all the props, the Monsters Cafe and stuff. I'm a little bit young to have watched a lot of the movies, but I am starting to get into them and working my way through them, and I love the nostalgia factor of them. Now, I saw Universal Studios Hollywood had a Classic Monsters house last year, and I have just watched a walkthrough of their house video to sort of see what we can expect in this house. Now, the first thing I was greeted by was obviously the facade. Now, sometimes Universal Hollywood houses don't get a good rep when they're compared to the Orlando houses, but I have to say the facade for the Universal Hollywood version of the house looked pretty awesome. It reminded us of like a cemetery entrance crypt, so I hope we have something incorporated inside of that. I do have a feeling this house may be in one of the sprung tents, so it may not have a great facade, but I think something like a cemetery crypt entrance will be doable. Now, one of the rooms I saw in this reminded me of Slaughter Cinema from Halloween Horror Nights last year, 2018, and it was the Wolfman room. When you walk through and you see the classic Wolfman posters, that reminded me a lot of Slaughter Cinema, and when you walk through one of the rooms there was an old projector playing classic movies, I'm assuming monster movies with loads of movie reels and stuff. That reminded me a great deal of Slaughter Cinema, so I hope to bring that sort of a little bit of a hint back, because I absolutely loved that. That was my #1 ranked house last year, so I hope they bring something along those lines into this house. Now, that scene in the Hollywood version of the house was probably just a cut through to get into another room slash section of the house. As we know, Hollywood's houses have what are called dead areas, where they don't have anything in, just long black corridors with nothing in. Orlando tends to not have that, so maybe we won't see that, but that was something that I would love to see. Now, another thing I saw which hasn't been mentioned by Universal Orlando in any tweets that I've saw or anyone talking about is the Invisible Man. The room inside of the house in Hollywood looked really cool with the UV lights, and it really did make it look like the scare actor was invisible apart from the clothes that he was wearing. So I would love to see that incorporated. I hope Universal nearer the time, which I did see a tweet earlier on, that more details around the house will be announced closer to the time. So I hope the Invisible Man will be in the lineup. Now, I know I keep talking about the Hollywood version, but that is because that is all we have to really go on at this point in recent times, because it was last year at Hollywood and it's coming this year to Orlando. And the next scene which I really stood out to me in the house was the Phantom of the Opera. I loved the organ music playing, and I loved seeing the Phantom popping out and giving people fright, so I really hope they can sort of have that in the lineup as well. And a Classic Monsters house wouldn't be complete without Frankenstein. There was a scene in the house where he was holding a girl in front of a coffin that looked really cool, and I know Universal Orlando will do something cool with that. It can't be a Classic Monsters house without Frankenstein. Now, my good friend Christopher Ripley put a tweet out saying what the house will have in. I don't know if Chris has just got that of one of his rumours or that has been announced. I've just finished work, just sort of read up, so I haven't had a good chance to read through everybody's tweets. But I've got my phone here with the tweet on, and it says what we will see in the Orlando house is Dracula's castle, which sounds absolutely amazing. Again, you can't have a Classic Monsters house without Dracula. You'll also have the Wolfman, which will chase you through the forest. I think that's going to be really cool. I hope we'll have loads of trees and like a pine smell inside there. That would be really cool. The Egyptian curse via the mummy, again, that's something that should be really easy for Universal to do. Tomb of the Ancients, you know, sort of thing again. That was a really cool house. I think that was 2016, I think. So it'd be cool to see something like that again put back into a house. Creature from the Black Lagoon, if they sort of do this like the Swamp Yeti, but maybe add a little bit of water, so the scare actors maybe paddling around in a little bit of water just so you can hear the water effects. But I think it would be really cool and really spooky to see the Creature from the Black Lagoon. He is one of the scarier sort of classic monsters from what I've saw. And last, which is on Christopher Ripley's treat, which by the way I've got up on the screen, is Frankenstein's lab. Now this sounds really awesome. To me this should be the ending with his laboratory, loads of flashing electric lights and experiments and that sort of thing, test tubes bubbling all over the place. I think that would be really cool. But these are just my little thoughts. Like I always do these videos, this is just what I would love to see in the house. Again, I want to get the discussion going. I want to know what you want to see in the house. What's your dream scenario in the house? What do you think will actually be in the house? Did you go to Hollywood's version last year? What did you think of it? And do you think Orlando is going to do a much better job? Which personally I think they will, going off videos I've watched of previous Halloween Horror Nights houses in Hollywood. Orlando tend to have the better version, Stranger Things for example. But again, like I've just mentioned, these videos are just to get a little discussion going and share my passion with you guys for Halloween Horror Nights. It's one of the main things I look forward to every year, and every time there's an announcement I get so excited for the event. So please leave a comment down below, get a discussion started, comment on other people's comments, reply to their comments, get a little discussion going. And remember, leave that big massive thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next announcement video. And remember guys, stay tuned.